This is Karita Mbagara, the Deputy Bishop of Christ is the Answer Ministries, welcoming you to CITAM Church Online. Today we want to talk about a tale of two judgments. We talked about death some time back and said that after death comes the judgment of God. I want to share with you that the Bible speaks of two judgments, one for the believers and one that will come right at the end of time and space, the ultimate judgment. In the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 10, the Bible reads, "For we must all appear before the judgment seat of Christ, so that each of us may receive what is due us for the things done while in the body, whether good or bad." This is what we call as the judgment seat of Christ. It is for believers that will have gone with Jesus when the rapture will have taken place. In this judgment, it is a judgment for rewarding. A judgment where you will be judged according to what you have done after you have become a believer. We will not all be equal in heaven. It is according to what we have done. Some people, like David had said, will be like watchmen. Others will be, promoted because of the much work they did for the Lord. Because after we have become believers, we are called to be faithful stewards. Not every one of us is as hardworking or as committed to the things of Christ. Our works don't save us. But after we have been saved, according to Ephesians chapter 2, verse 10, we are meant to do the works of Christ. And this judgment will be giving believers according to what they have done, or will be giving believers rewards according to what they have done. That calls for believers to be faithful stewards, to be diligent and committed to the things of God. It is not condemnation that will take us out of God or away from the presence of God, but a judgment where rewarding is taking place. And you see that this is affirmed also in the book of Revelation, chapter 22, verse 12, where Jesus said, "Look, I am coming soon. My reward is with me. I will give to each person according to what he has done." So what are you doing for Christ now that you are a believer? Because that will determine whether you will shine, whether you will be like the stars. Daniel said that those who win others will shine like the stars. And it is that shining will be the reward that you'll be given. But there is another judgment that is described in the book of Revelation chapter 20 from verse 11. And I want to read that passage because it's also important. It says this. In the book of Revelation 20 verse 11, it says, "Then I saw a great white throne and him who was seated on it. The earth and the heavens fled from his presence, and there was no place for them. And I saw the dead, great and small, standing before the throne, and books were opened. Another book was opened, which is the book of life. The dead were judged according to what they had done, as recorded in the books. The sea gave up the dead that were in it, and death and Hades gave up the dead that were in them, and each person was judged according to what they had done. Then death and Hades were thrown into the lake of fire. The lake of fire is the second death. Anyone whose name was not found written in the book of life was thrown into the lake of fire." This is what we call the great white throne judgment. It is the ultimate, the final judgment, which comes after 1,000 years, or what we call the millennium rule of Christ, after he has finished that, there will be a judgment of all people who have lived, the great and the small, those who have been wealthy or poor that died. And it seems that some of them, because of their evil works, will be rewarded with punishment to a greater extent than others. It also seems to me that there will be some, perhaps from the Old Testament before Jesus came, and the ones that will have lived in the millennial rule of Christ, that will have lived right, that will receive life, because it says books will be opened, and perhaps every man's page will be there, all that you did. But it also says there will be a book of life. And it is those whose names were not found in the book of life that were thrown into the lake of fire. My interpretation of this is that all mankind will stand before God and will be judged according to what they have done. The only people that perhaps will be saved from this judgment are those that will have been raptured, as we talked some time back in a video, that those who will have been raptured are the ones that will sit at the judgment seat of Christ, and they will not go to this judgment that God will be judging the world. And it also seems to me that even the sinners will not be judged wholesome and said, you're a sinner, go to hell. There seems to be a consideration the extent to which they were sinful and evil, and they will be thrown or they will be punished according to the extent of their sin. I want to say that when you consider those two judgments, you want to be in the first one, the judgment seat of Christ. And that's why I am here to say, may we not just do things for Christ, but be ready for his second coming, and not wait for that ultimate judgment that will cause men to be running away from God, running away because they know that they have not lived right. My friend, make your life right with God so that you will be secured after you have left this world. If you die as a believer, you will be resurrected when the rapture takes place, and you will escape that ultimate judgment. But if you die as a sinner, you will wait until that day when you will be judged by God, and your name will not be found in the book of life. You will be destroyed or taken to the place of punishment. Note that death will be destroyed at that time, and Hades also will be thrown at that time. My take is that Hades is the place where the dead that don't know Jesus do go judgment. It is destroyed at this point. Those who know Jesus and have lived for him, they go to paradise upon death, because that's what Jesus promised the thief who asked him that he be remembered when Jesus comes. And Jesus told him, you'll be with me in paradise. So when we die, it seems there are two destinations, paradise or Hades. And those who go to Hades will wait until this time when Hades will be submitting all those that were there. The dead, we are told death will release those that it has taken, and it talks of Hades also releasing those that were there. Where will you be? May God bless you as you consider these words that I'm sharing with you, and make your life right with him before too late. Leave a comment, ask questions, and if you have not subscribed, subscribe. If this is a blessing, share it with others. I trust that we can continue learning together. God bless you.